Ladies and gentlemen, let's game into the video. Let's discuss Dying Light's resolution and frame rate, shall we? It's been confirmed that the PS4 version is going to be running at 1080p 30 frames per second. That was actually confirmed on an Ask FM post, where the developers asked, well, what's the resolution of the game? And they did say 1080p 30, but then on a Facebook post they said that 30 FPS is going to be across both consoles. They haven't mentioned specifically the resolution on the Xbox One. They did say that we succeeded in delivering native 1080p graphics after an enormous amount of work. Very happy to see it running in beautiful high definition graphics, and after the frame rates and tests we've concluded 1080p resolution at locked 30 FPS is the optimal solution. And they did say as well that they're trying to reduce input lag to a minimum. Now obviously there's a bit of a PR-y answer simply because the 30 FPS inherently has higher input lag than 60, but even so, and by the way, this is from the senior game producer. His name, probably going to pronounce this incorrectly, but it is Adrian Ciszewski, and he is the senior game producer over at Techland for Dying Light. Anyway, it's surprising how many people are surprised by this news. It's surprising of their surprise, if you will. If you go ahead and pop over to Google Images at some point and do a little bit of kind of searching around for various images in the game, and you'll notice that it's actually quite graphically impressive. It really is. There's not only a lot of objects on screen, there's a lot of different textures, there's a lot of detail, there's a lot of light, shadows, and all of the other bits and pieces which do ravage GPU and CPU performance. But there's also a lot of mobs on screen, which we know the effect of those from Assassin's Creed. Plus, of course, the game's environments are fairly large, which is once again another issue with the title. Well, another issue that can certainly help to drag down the frame rate. This is another reason where, say, The Last of Us Remastered looks pretty awesome and has, you know, almost up to 60 frames per second at times, so that it can dip. But you can definitely see the difference between it and GTA, simply because GTA, of course, is more open world. And a little bit of a caveat for you guys as well. On Last of Us Remastered, the graphics actually look better if you lock the frame rate at 30 frames per second. I'm not kidding. What it basically does is it frees up some GPU resources, and as far as I remember, it's been a while since I've done the analysis, but it actually increases, I believe it was the shadow resolution of the game. It basically, that game engine bumps up the shadows and makes the graphics just look a little bit higher quality. So anyway, I'm not really surprised that the game is going to be running at 1080p 30 frames per second on the consoles. It's actually been confirmed as well that on the PC you need an i5 to really get the most out of the game. In fact, to really run the game you need some form of i5. So for example, something like a 2500K they would consider to be a minimum, simply because the games are becoming increasingly multi-thread orientated. Now, if one was to be really honest about this, there's a lot of debate regarding the whole resolution situation and whether it should be 1080p 60 frames per second, the 1080p 30 frames per second, or whether they should lower it to 1080, so say 900p 60 frames per second, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, the consoles only have a certain amount of hardware power. So really, you know, short of them going in a time machine, going back, say a couple of years when the machines were in development, and pleading with Microsoft and Sony, hey, could you please make, you know, the systems have different specifications, there's not much that they can do other than optimize the games the best they can. One of the reasons that we personally do graphics and frame rate analysis for the consoles is simple. To make sure that the versions of the game look the best they can. It's not really to point at a game and say, it's only running at 30 frames per second, but, you know, does it maintain a smooth 30 frames per second on one specific console? For example, Assassin's Creed, it was pretty bloody awful on the PS4, and the Xbox One version wasn't exactly beautiful, but it managed a slight higher frame rate. The Xbox One version certainly didn't dip to the 17 of the PS4, which was pretty awful. Other cases, of course, the PS4 version does have definitely an advantage. You get other versions of the game, for example Call of Duty, where online the two versions are pretty much interchangeable, aside from the fact the PS4 version does have a slightly higher resolution. In other words, it's to check that there's no specific or glaring issues with either version of the game, as well as the PC versions, of course, and so on and so forth. So I'm not really surprised by the news that it's 1080p 30 FPS. It was, to be honest with you, I'd kind of automatically in my head even associated 30 FPS with this game on consoles, if I'm totally blunt. Anyway, excuse me guys, my throat is still a little bit dying, unfortunately. As some of you know, I have been down with the flu, although I am getting a bit better, so hopefully and get back to the more technical stuff. It's pretty much impossible to run like frame rate analysis or anything mildly technical when you've got like headaches and migraines and stuff like that. At least for me. Normally I actually kind of work through when I'm being sick, but this is just been absolutely ridiculous, and this is what you get for helping someone fix a laptop. Actually, they gave me the flu for helping them fix a laptop. I'm pretty sure that is not fair on a karma scale. Not that I'm particularly a major fan of karma, but anyway, I digress. But hopefully I shall be cool in the next couple of days. We can knock out finally the bloody Dragon Age thing, which I've had all the sodding footage, like gigabytes, or actually hundreds of gigabytes of sodding raw captured footage on my hard drive for the last couple of days, which absolutely sucks because I want to get that up for you all. And obviously Metal Gear Solid's coming out soon for the PC. I think it's the 18th if memory serves, 17th, 18th, I honestly can't remember. So we can smash that out as well. And we'll probably do a vlog and stuff, wishing you all a happy Christmas and all of the other shiners. Anyway, I'm going to get going. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Take care. Bye for now.